Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Lola Moore Johnston, and welcome to another edition of Bloom Thursday. I am so glad that you have joined me tonight. I would love to hear where you are watching from. And again, man, every time I get an opportunity to be with you guys, I am thrilled. I am going to be on. Every time I say I'm going to do something shortly, it winds up being a little bit longer, but my intent is for this to be short. I wanted to talk to you guys about something that's a little hot right now and get your take. But before then, I want to see where you're watching from. Where are you? Hello, Angel Bell Travis. How are you doing tonight? Come on, say hello. Show me where you're watching from. And if you have friends and family who you think might like this programming, let them know that Bloom Thursdays is on. It's nice to see you again, too. Took my little break, and now I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, you know. So I'm so glad you're here. It's Angel. Good evening. Who else do we have here? And where are you watching from? Go ahead and hit that chat box and let me know where you're watching from. So I see Blakesley, Pennsylvania. Hello, Miss Elizabeth. Good evening. Sharon is watching from Pearland, Texas. Angel's watching from North Carolina. So good to have you all on tonight. I wanted to talk about a hot topic tonight. Last week. Hey, how you doing, Tam? Tamara Bodie from Nashville, Tennessee. How y'all doing tonight? Man, and so glad we want to make sure that we support Tam. She's actually supporting the new Tasha Cobbs Leonard album. Oh man, I'm so happy to see that. So if you see any of that come out, make sure you buy, support. Tam is doing her thing. So good. So we want to talk tonight about a subject that is very near and dear to my heart. I want to find out tonight, you can put that in your chat. How do you decide on what opportunities you will take? How do you decide what opportunities you'll take? You'll notice if you paid attention to social media that a darling of mine is being raked over the coals in social media because of an opportunity that she took. But before we just talk about hers, I want to find out how do you figure out what opportunities you'll take? It's a new job that somebody's offering you. There's a little freelance gig that somebody gives to you. How do you make that decision? How do you decide what opportunities you'll take? Well, some time ago, I'm not sure exactly when, one CeCe Winans took an opportunity. She was asked to do a public service spot for the current Attorney General. Excuse me, he's not Attorney General. He's the chief physician of the nation. She was asked to do a spot talking about covering up with masks, wearing your mask out. Hello, Mom, in New Jersey. Reporter got hold to it, and now all of social media is buzzing because it seems that CeCe Winans is a Trump supporter. Many people find themselves unnerved because we haven't heard anything from CeCe really politically ever. And so some people think that maybe she knew that it was going to be a spot that was shot for President Trump, and she was a supporter. Other people feel that she should have known better. She should have had her team vet and see what was going on. But rather than talk about whether or not she's a Trump supporter, that's really her business, and how she uses her platform as her business, I want to more so know, how do you make decisions? And how do you determine who it is that you'll serve? Thank you, Linda. The Surgeon General. I had Attorney General in my head, but Surgeon General asked her to do that. So how do you make those decisions? If you need money, how do you determine what decision is right for you to take? If you're wanting exposure, how do you make a decision as to what it is that you'll do? Have you ever had any of those decisions where you have several good things that are on the table and you have to make a decision? How do you make a decision as to what it is that you will do? Well, I put a couple of things together, some thoughts that came to my mind as I thought about my darling CeCe. Oh my goodness, one of my favorite singers in the world, and how she is being talked about. Again, she can do no wrong in my eyes, but I did think about a few things. Here's one. That when dealing with making decisions, I realized that not every opportunity for exposure is a good opportunity. So if you guys are artists at all, you've had people who've come to you and said, they wanted you to do something on stage. It was going to be a good opportunity for exposure. Sometimes they think exposure is better than money, and so they don't want to pay you. They just, hey, it's going to be a great opportunity for exposure. I've seen so many reality shows that people have gotten on because of exposure. They wanted to get out there. People who have done crazy things on camera for exposure. And for some reason, we have believed that any exposure that we can get is good exposure. Any exposure that we get is positive. Any exposure that we get is something that we should take. But listen, not every opportunity for exposure is a good opportunity. Because if this exposure puts you in a negative light, then that negative light is what is stamped on your name for eternity, or for as long as people remember, right? Some people have put themselves on, oh my goodness, I remember when I was in college, and every Tuesday and Thursday before my psychology class, we would sit and we would watch Jerry Springer. And every time we watched it, at that time it was new. Now it's just kind of corny. But at that time we knew that a fight was going to break out. So we would just sit and watch before our psychology class these fights that would break out. And people, we learned these people were getting $100 for showing up on Jerry Springer, and they would just fight. And we would watch it and we would laugh. It was unbelievable. But I realized that these people were willing to sacrifice their good name, to sacrifice being incognito when they go to the grocery store, because they thought that exposure, just having their face on camera, was going to be positive. My brother, my sister, that's not true. You want good exposure, and good exposure is a good opportunity. When you are in a positive light, when you are well prepared, when you are actually speaking about something you have some kind of knowledge about, that is good opportunity. And oftentimes we're so anxious to get in front of a crowd. We're so happy to get in front of a camera that we'll just take any exposure. But I'm trying to tell you today, if you'll just step back for 2 seconds and think about this thing, you don't ever want to be exposed in a moment where you're unprepared. You don't ever want to be exposed in a moment where you don't know what you're talking about. Only positive light, only positive opportunities are ones that cast you in the best light possible. So number one, if you're looking at an opportunity, make sure that it's an opportunity where you get good exposure, where you know what you're talking about, where you're prepared for the moment, where you actually will come out of it with your dignity. Okay? Here's the second one. When we're making decisions about what opportunities we'll take, not every paying opportunity is a good opportunity. Let me see what y'all saying in the comments. Not every paying opportunity is a good opportunity. Listen, people have money. Now, you may be in an area where there's people who are strapped for cash, where people are not always coming around money. But let me tell you, people have money. And there's lots of people who will fork over money to get you to do things that they don't want to do, to get you to do things that they can't get anybody else to do. And so you have to analyze beyond the check, beyond the zeros, whether or not you will be able to look at yourself in the mirror after cashing that check. Oh my goodness, I remember seeing Set It Off. And one girl, Stony, she was trying to help her brother go to school. And there was a used car salesman who was in town who had money. And she couldn't think of any other way to get money. And so she found herself being super vulnerable to this guy, getting money, but not being able to hold her head up afterwards. And I think there's a lot of us, when we find ourselves in a corner, when we find ourselves needing money, we get to places where we're willing to do things that we would not do ordinarily. Or you might have money and just want more money and be willing to do whatever it takes to get money. But listen, not every paying opportunity is a good opportunity. I want you to be able to look past a paycheck to ask whether or not what this person is paying for is something that you are willing to do. Is it something that you would be proud to do? Is it something that you have to keep a secret, or that they have to keep a secret? Is it something that you're afraid will get out? Listen, not every paying opportunity is a good opportunity. As somebody said here, if it doesn't come to risking my freedom and family, right? Someone else says, I know one time I turned down a paid consultancy because I knew the person was toxic. I stayed broke and happy. That's Dr. Linda Murphy Freeman. Listen, are you willing to be broke and happy or paid and miserable? And how many of us are paid and miserable because we took the money, we took the salary, we took the benefits, but we're doing something that makes us feel less than ourselves. It's taking more of us than we want to give. It's making us someone who we don't want to be. We have to be very careful because not every paying opportunity is a good opportunity. So the question again, how do you pick your opportunities? If there are jobs that are on the table, if there are people who are asking for your help, people who are asking you to be on a board, people who are asking you to be a part of an initiative, how do you decide? I want to suggest a couple of things that I think you should do. But I hope that more than just taking what I'm asking, that you will start to just think really clearly about how it is that you're going to accept opportunities from now forward. So before I jump into that, let me ask, have you ever been a part of something, says yes to something, and then afterwards said, why in the world did I do that? What am I doing here? Why did I agree to this? Man, I remember when I was in school, I took a job. And of course, I was broke, so I needed the job. But every time I went to that job, I was upset. I was walking around outside. Man, I was wasting those people's time because I didn't like being in their office. I was just walking around because it was toxic and people were always talking about one another. They were talking about me. It was awful. And I took the money, but after a while, I just had to leave. Have you ever been a part of a job like that where you're like, why did I even take this job? What am I doing here? So the question is, staying out of those spaces. How do you make decisions so that you don't find yourself being somewhere where you feel like you have to exact a pound of flesh in order to get paid? Okay, first off, simply, I want you to pray. Nobody, let me say, if you're not an ER physician receiving a page that there's someone coming in and you have to be there stat in order to provide some surgery or something, then 9 times out of 10, nobody's going to die if you ask for time to think about this opportunity. Okay? You know, some of you may have some extenuating circumstances, so I respect that. If somebody is going to die because you have taken your time making this decision, then this does not apply to you. You pray while you put your gown on and your gloves on and all that good stuff. But otherwise, I want us to start feeling comfortable telling people that we need some time to think about it. Give yourself a day or so to simply be quiet and to pray about what is being offered to you. And there's no opportunity that is so small that you can't take some time and say, hey, can I think about it for a second? Can I ask a question? Depending on what the relationship is between me and that person, I say, well, hey, let me talk to a couple of people about it. It might just be me and my husband talking about it. But there is something that I need to put between myself and the person asking me for an opportunity. You do not have to say yes in the moment. And it does not matter how urgent people try to make it. Listen, their inability to plan does not make it your responsibility to respond in a moment. You don't have to rush when people are asking you to do something. Take some time. It may be a couple of hours. God may give you a yes in your prayer, but give yourself a breather to ask the Lord what he says. Listen, I have learned that just asking God a question, just praying about it for a moment has saved me so much time when I have done it that way. There are moments where I have not done it that way. And for the next weeks and months, I'm like, God, why didn't I pray about this beforehand? I could have avoided this. You know, take some time to pray. Take a couple of hours, take a day. Can I call you back tomorrow? Is a perfect response. Can I call you back? You know, I am so grateful that you are, you've considered me. Can I call you back tomorrow? It's respectful, it's gentle, and most people who are reasonable will be able to understand that. If they cannot allow you to have one moment or one day, then that's not an opportunity that you want to be a part of. That's going to be an abusive, toxic relationship. So just pray about it. Take a day, pray, ask the Lord, and see what the Lord has to say. Now, what do? There are some moments where God has given me the freedom to make the decision for myself. There's not any clear, not anything immoral about what I'm, being offered. There's not anything that's going to break down my family. That's not going to break me down. I get the opportunity to choose. So when I'm in those situations, then I start to ask questions. Okay. Take the day. You've prayed about it. You don't hear anything. So let's ask some questions. But before you start asking them questions, I want you to ask yourself some questions. You ready for these questions? Okay, here we go. Question number 1. Here it is. Do I really want to do this? Listen, there's a lot of stuff that would not even make it to your plate if you ask yourself this question. Do I really want to do this? Do I really feel like teaching this class? Do I really feel like going to this service? Do I just want to sit in my bathtub and soak tonight? You don't have to say yes to everything. Thank you so much. Grateful to be, considered, but you do not have to say yes. So ask yourself, do I really want to do this? Do I feel like doing it? Do I enjoy this? And how many times, I want you to just look over the slate of the last 5 or 6 things you say yes to, and how many times you could kind of look and say, man, I don't really want to do this. There have been so many times. And I mean, if you ask anybody who does Christian work, they'll tell you that it's happened to them too. I'll show up to a service and I'm like, why am I here? What am I doing? Why did I say yes to this? And listen, if I had just paused to ask myself this question, a lot of that stuff will be eliminated. I would preach less, yes. But when I go to preach, I would show up with my best energy. I would show up with some kind of energy. I wouldn't be, fully drained and all that kind of stuff. Just ask yourself this question. Do I really want to do this? Do I really feel like going to this outing? Do I really feel like doing another Zoom conversation? Do I really feel like taking part of this thing? And again, if you just ask yourself that question, you would avoid so much. As Gianna Snell said, that's so real. I mean, you just sit there and you're like, why am I here? Oh my God, I could tell y'all some stories, but just ask yourself, do I really want to do this, right? Do I really want to do this? Number 2, here it is. Is this something I'm prepared to do? A little different than something that you want to do. Is it something you're prepared to do? Now, there's a lot of things, that we aspire to, but there's sometimes where we have to have a real conversation with ourselves as to whether or not we're prepared to do this. And I found, especially in this space, this virtual space, you really see how many people just get out of the bed in the morning and say, I'm going to be a scholar today. They haven't read a book. They have not taken a course, but they're going to be a scholar today. So they just up saying whatever they feel like saying. Totally unprepared. Now, in our former life, before COVID-19, you have been to places where people just throw something together and you're sitting there like, how did this go down? Like, who did this? And in the church realm, oh Lord, I have, let me say it a different way. There are some people who I know who love to sing, but have never really invested in learning to sing. So they will get in front of a mic and will go on and on and on singing because they love to sing. But they haven't prepared to sing. And so everybody else is kind of suffering through their desire to sing. But man, you got to ask yourself a real question before you jump out there to do something. Am I ready to do this? And if you're not ready to do this, I'm telling you, everybody will respect you if you say, hey, maybe not this time. Let me see if I can find somebody else to help you. But I'm not prepared in this season. I'm not ready. Now, some people do have a system of false humility where they will say they're not ready, but they actually have been ready for some time. So this is where your friends come in, your good friends, your faithful friends, the ones who actually make sure that you don't go out and embarrass yourself. You can ask your friends and people that you trust whether or not you're dealing with false humility in this. I've shared with some people that I've been taking voice lessons. And while I have been singing for a long time, I am learning how to sing operatically. It is not something that comes naturally to me, although I really like what I'm learning. And I was standing in front of a camera one time and a couple of weeks ago at an opportunity, and I was going to try to sing operatically. But in that moment, I said, no, Lord, no, I'm not ready. I switched the key and put it in something I was ready to do. And then I did it that way. I said, listen, I'm not ready to do that just yet. I'm coming, but just not yet. Oh, Tamara said, Lord, get off my street. I'm sorry. And then Miss Myrna said, have mercy on our ears. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Listen, I had to make a decision that I was not prepared to do that. And oftentimes we just want to be on stage so much that we just willing to do whatever. And then we come out looking bad. We come out with the people not being edified. We come out with the service or the event being jacked up because we simply refuse to just push pause for a minute and give it to somebody who was really prepared. Am I prepared to do this? And if I'm not prepared to do this, I can say, hold on, not this time, not this time, not this time. So do I really want to do this? Is this something I'm prepared to do? And then finally, I love this. Here we go. Am I prepared for the consequences of what I will do? Am I prepared for the consequences of what I will do? So come back to my darling, my dear Cece, and her decision to appear in an ad that was created by the Surgeon General to help people to wear masks, and which will likely be released in the next couple of weeks. She made that decision. I'm sure her team looked over a contract. I am believing that there was a paycheck. I mean, now Cece don't play with little money. She don't play with little money. So if Cece was on there, they paid her big money. But I don't know that anybody sat and talked with her about the potential consequences of that decision. One paycheck of all kinds of paychecks that she gets. She's not broke by any stretch of the imagination. But this one opportunity, she could potentially lose a demographic of her fan base for this decision. Did she talk with her team about the potential consequences of making this decision? And I want to ask you, do you ever consider the potential consequences? Now, well, let me make sure I finish my sentence first. The potential consequences of what decisions you will make. Just step out 2 or 3 steps, 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 days. What are the ramifications of the decisions that you make? Not just the paycheck, not just the people who you will interact with, but what are the ramifications? What is it that is the result of what it is that you're about to be a part of? Is the panel that you're a part of something that will give some consequences or some ramifications that you actually want? Or are there only negative consequences to what it is that you're doing? And if that's the case, if you don't see any positive consequences, or any positive benefits, any positive ramifications, then is this something you need to be doing? But you know what the thing is? You know what I realize, y'all? We don't ever ask that question. We don't ask the question, what is the outcome that will result from this opportunity? We're just so happy to be asked. We're just so happy to get on stage. We're just so happy that somebody thought about us that we never just sit. I'm really talking about myself, right? That we never really sit and just take some time to think and meditate and pray over what is the next 3 steps that come from being a part of this thing. And here's another thing. If there aren't any potential benefits that reach out 2 or 3 steps from this thing, is this a waste of my time? If we just sat and thought through what are the potential ramifications of this, and if there are no benefits, no ramifications, just my face on a screen, then maybe I can say this is actually not a good use of my time. I'm not going to do it. Am I prepared for the consequences? Am I prepared if nothing comes of this? So when we are asked, I want to ask you to give some thought to what the continuing ramifications are to your decisions. Now, this can go for anything. If I go out on a date with this person, what are the potential ramifications? I'm going to veer far left, but I promise you I'm going somewhere. A lot of us feel like because we're grown, we could do whatever we want to do. And so we will go out with somebody. We don't care about their reputation. We don't care about their past. We don't care about anything, any like looming rumors about them right now. We just say, well, I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to do this for myself because I'm grown. Okay. But we have given no thought to the picture of what ramifications could come from that decision. What are the potential drawbacks to me who don't have that kind of rumor looming about me being out with this person? Is it a waste of my time? Come on in here, somebody. Can I get an amen? I see some comments coming up. Can I get an amen? Is this a waste of my time? Is this a good use of my name? Like, am I going to be proud if my name and this person's name is put together? Are people going to make good conclusions about me if my name and this person's name is together? I'm telling you, listen, I, I was before I got married, I was talking to somebody, and a friend of mine let me know it was a bad idea. And I was like, I'm grown. But sometime later, after myself and that person were long over, some really bad things happened that person chose. And I realized how God has spared my life because the rumors about this person were true. And the negative cloud around that person was real. I could have been tied up in that mess because I didn't sit to actually ask questions about the ramifications of my being in their presence. So this is the question I'm asking y'all tonight. Are you prepared for the consequences of the decisions that you make? Are you okay with what could potentially come? Have you thought through what the next 2 or 3 steps look like if you do this thing? These are decisions you have to make. You have to make a decision to give yourself time to pray. Give yourself time to ask, do I really want to do this? And give yourself time to imagine what the potential consequences are of your decision. I'm telling you, let me just say one last thing. I realize that many of us don't make these decisions to sit down and think. We don't make those decisions to actually prayerfully consider because we don't believe we have that luxury. We think we have to take whatever comes because nothing else may not come down the street. We believe we are having to pick up all of the scraps that are thrown at us because nothing else will come. And I'm telling you, that is a poverty mindset. And because many of us operate out of a poverty mindset, we don't give ourselves the luxury of thoughtfully considering what we take and what we don't take. So, as I prepare to take my seat, the song says, "My Father is rich in houses and land. He holds the wealth of the world in his hand. Rubies, diamonds, silver, gold. His house has rooms and riches untold." Listen, our poverty mindset causes us to rummage through the trash of life. That's really what it boils down to. But I want to invite you just to take off the poverty mindset like a garment. It might take a little time. It took me some time to dump a poverty mindset. But if you give yourself the space and the room to just ask some questions of yourself, of God, of the situation, I promise you that you're going to make some decisions that are actually going to be life-giving for you. They're going to be life-giving for you. They're going to be decisions to be in spaces that you actually like being in, to do a job that you actually enjoy going to eat food that actually is life-giving for you. I had to get over and am having to get over eating food that makes me sick. When you eat that, it gives you heartburn. It gives you gas when you eat it, but you're still eating it. It's that poverty mindset. We have to get over that and learn to make space in our lives for the best. And I want to say tonight, you deserve it. You deserve the best. You can choose the best. You can be the best because you were bought and created by the best. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad every time I get an opportunity to spend time with you. If you want to make a donation to the Bloom movement, you can do it right there. Cash App, Bloom everywhere. And I want to also invite you to the Bloom conference. We're going Bloom in the dark. We learned that some of most summer creations most beautiful creatures glow in the dark. The most beautiful flowers grow in the dark. And listen, the believer can bloom in the dark as well. And so if you're interested in being part of that conference, it's mybloomcon.com. There are tickets still available October the 14th through the 17th with a VIP day on the 18th. We want to spend time with you, equipping you to bloom in the dark. Well, we'll be back on next Thursday evening. If this has been meaningful to you, make sure that you share this with somebody. I love you. God bless you. And we'll see you again on Bloom Thursdays. Good night, everybody.